Do you think she's right? Do you think that people should band together and have a blackout? Would it be impactful to society?
I mean, it was impactful before. It made an impact before once upon a time. So, but I think back then when it didn't make an impact, Black people as a whole were just more unified. We had more of a purpose to want to progress as a community. So it was a lot easier for us to get on the same page and sacrifice things for the long term, for the greater good. I don't think that's where we are now. But I know if we did get on the same page, we could make an impact because it's already happened. Our dollar is powerful, and with these mega corporations, if you withhold that dollar in exchange for them to do right by you, it can work. It has worked before. So
Jazz,
I
your mic.
think that, sorry.
No, but go ahead. Anybody agree or disagree with her?
I absolutely disagree. I feel like
Yeah.
one day is not enough. And then number two, for us to boycott certain stores because DEI initiatives were pulled back, we look like a joke as a whole, as Black people, for thinking that that is something we need to defend. First of all, DEI does nothing for us as a whole. And secondly, just because Target is no longer required to hire a transgender lady with blue hair and a plastic penis does not mean that I should not go shop in that store because that person cannot get a job showing up the way that they present themselves. Additionally, again, we have boycotted in the past and it has made a difference, but things like the Montgomery bus boycott lasted over a year. That's how you make a difference. So unless we're going to not shop at Target for a year, unless we're going to not shop at any of these businesses for a year plus until they, I guess, bring back DEI, then again, us not shopping for a day did nothing but make it easier for white people and others to shop in peace. No long lines. That's what I appreciated that day.
well, it wasn't just for that one day. There was actually a plan for other days to make an impact as well. It wasn't just that one day. There were several other days that they had planned to do this boycott, etc. I don't disagree with what you're saying. It definitely takes more than just a day, but I know particularly for this boycott, they did have other days planned out to boycott as well. So, I mean, we got to start somewhere as Black people. What do you guys think would have been a better thing for us to do um, in this moment?
Jazz,
Boycott single parenthood.
hold on 1 second, Victor. Jazz, leave and come back because your mic got static. Like, I don't know if it's
Okay.
just leave and come back. Go ahead, Victor.
Boycott single parenthood. We we need to work on fixing our homes and communities first to have a legitimate impact on anybody's financial market. Like, if you want to impact something economically, you need to do it as a community and then be able to draw everybody out. This is how you pick your politicians. This is how lobbyists put their voting blocks together. And you need to have a defined left and right boundary. If you're going to boycott, like you said, it was significant dates that might have been lined up or whatever. But like, if you decide to boycott from like November to February, something that you can actually measure and pivot off of, then you have some metrics to work off of. And you're definitely going to need a sustained effort from a large group of people. I think the Montgomery bus boycott lasted 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to take a whole lot of different commitment, you know what I'm saying, in order for someone to see a sustained economic impact. And based on the fact that Black people make up, 14 to 16% of the population, what market we got to start where we can have the most impact. And I believe that if you could do that more effectively if you own your communities, if you have the right kind of leadership, in your own household. You can't do that without men. I don't think that you can have any type of movement that's credible without men in the front.
The movement started by a white man. That's the one.
And that's the other part. And what I'm saying, that's the other part of what I'm about to say too. This movement wasn't what was something else. Black people kind of like jumped in it with another agenda, because this was about an economic blackout, right? From the People's Union, a dude named was John Schwartz or something like that, 57-year-old guy. And he was talking about making an economic impact or whatever. But like from where I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, the people that have been talking about the boycott of it the most have been making it more about a Black issue more than an economic issue than anything.
I think this whole thing is dumb. Like just
It's
like
dumb.
people boycotted. What was that brand? The B brand, the fancy brand with the kids.
Balenciaga.
Balenciaga, people boycotting their back wearing it. It's like, so y'all not gonna shop for one day and then go right to Target the next day. Make it make sense. Like, I think I was having this conversation at the gym a couple days ago. I'm like, it's dumb. Y'all gonna go back shopping at Amazon and whatever stores y'all shop at, and it's gonna get back money no matter what. Right. So it's like, to me, it's dumb. Once again, black people are following a white man, feminist movement, same thing happened. Like, it just, I feel like it makes people look dumb doing it.
There's no credibility.
I think it's well, it's a few things. First, I got a couple of things. First of all, why are we still listening to Al Sharpton? And second of all, he gave, now if this was a real movement, and if he was really trying to support the black community, whatever they call themselves doing, and he gave all them gift cards away, why would he take them to Costco? Why wouldn't he take them to support black owned businesses? Why wouldn't he? I mean, if that was the whole goal, like, it don't even make sense. People just, I don't know. And then, like you said, piggybacking off you, like, if you're gonna do something, like, I don't mind, like, if you're gonna spend your money or boycott, like you say, it's gotta be for something tangible. Like, for me, until y'all focus on these kids out here dropping, I don't believe you. I just don't. I ain't gonna never believe you. I'm not gonna never believe you genuine as long as I hear people steady hollering about things that's just not really priority right now. I think y'all silly, actually.
Jazz is the only one that partake into this blackout. I know it's somebody else. One of y'all scared.
I mean, I understand everyone's viewpoint. I don't totally disagree. For me, it was just trying to see black people come together on something, you know.
Why do y'all always need a community before you like do something right? Like, why do y'all need a cosigner? Why do you need a group to put a battery in y'all back before y'all learn to think for yourself? Why are we like, why is the culture always focused on what somebody else is telling you to do instead of them thinking for themselves? Like, all of the talking points, the way that we talk, the way that we communicate, and it's so funny because the people that always talk about black people coming together a lot of times disassociate themselves with other black people that think differently than them, that would actually empower them and allow for them to actually make more of an impact in whatever it is that they need, right? So if you're talking about representation, for example, diversity, equity, and inclusion, they don't want black Republicans, for example. You know what I'm saying? They don't want people that speak differently than them. They don't want people that could bring back information based off of lived experiences that may be completely different from being raised in a hood. And I just think that you just got to disband this whole thing. We've been doing the same, and not me as an Anton, but as a culture, been doing the same shit for longer than I've been alive. And we conveniently get worse and worse off as a community. We've been saying the same Black Panther bullshit since the beginning of time, and collectively we are worse off than ever before when you compare yourself to the rest of the demographics that we then separate ourselves from. Like, it would seem like we would come up with something else and be like, you know what? That shit ain't working. This shit ain't working. The way that we vote ain't working. The way that we me to ourselves and attach ourselves to some movement that don't even mean shit, that we don't even know where it came from, ain't working. Like, we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And it will behoove you to say, you know what? I don't want to do that no more. Because usually the people that then say, you know what, I want to break away from this, those are the ones that break out and take off and do really, really well and be successful. I don't understand the mindset behind like the follower mentality and an inability to be able to educate ourselves and think for ourselves.
Most people don't have a solution. They just got a complaint and an observation and a criticism. But when you start talking like solutions-oriented people, those are the first people to get excommunicated, like you were talking about before. Like, because nobody wants to hear what it really takes to solve a problem, and then really stay on task when you really lay it out. You know what the goal is, other than just like,
What's the goal? What's the goal?
I can't understand what the goal is of this particular thing because I didn't participate in this event. But from what I've seen, and I've been asking the same questions, is like, what are you protesting, and what do you hope to achieve out of the protest? And I haven't
Well,
gotten
hold on.
it.
Let's mine this out, right? Let's say hypothetically that John Schwartz, right, the earthy looking John Schwartz guy, is a part of the People's Union. Didn't decide that he wanted to post this. That then we played a game of telephone, and all of a sudden it became a black community issue, right? Everything become black. Let's say hypothetically that he didn't do this, and that black people came up with it, and it actually was something that we, was conceived by us, for us, by us, FUBU. What's the goal?
Yeah, I think all things considered would be to, if it was left up to me, I'd be looking at trying to establish political equity.
No, not you. What's the goal of this economic blackout? Is what I'm saying. From a black culture perspective, what was the goal? Assuming that John Schwartz never came up with it, why did y'all jump on board, or why do y'all think that people jumped on board?
They were able to sell the black community a dream that if we just all didn't shop for one day, our $1.3 trillion buying power was somehow going to take away from all of these businesses and cause them to fail within that day. And, much like Jazz had mentioned, even though they have other days lined up, it's still one day at a time, and it's pretty spread out. So it's not a consistent effort. And much like Victor said, it's not consistent, and therefore we cannot measure the actual impact, if there even is one, that comes from it. And so apparently everybody thought that black people were going to stay home for a day, as if people don't have errands to run, as if maybe that might have been somebody's only off day to go do what they needed to do. But, folks insisted that if you guys just don't shop today, these countries will put some respect on our names, as if them rolling back DEI initiatives was somehow a disrespectful notion towards black people.
As though DEI was impacting us in a positive way in the first place.
Wasn't. And I don't know why they made DEI synonymous with black, because in case you guys haven't done any research, DEI mainly benefits white women and Asians. And of course, now the gays. So
I 100% agree.
Can we stop?
People front loaded, like they overshot the day before at the same places that they said that they was going to boycott.
So they made up for it before it ever even happened. And then, of course, black folks went right back shopping the very next day, the day after that, today, they'll be shopping tomorrow. So.
But can we please stop limiting DEI just to race and the LGBTQIA plus community? DEI is so much more than that. And we sit here and we talk about all of the things that is bad about it, but we don't talk about the things that are good about DEI initiatives. DEI means access. DEI means having technology. Let's just say you have someone who's hearing impaired or visually impaired, making sure that if they're starting a job or position, that they have the things that they need to do their work. So it's more than just limiting it to race and the gays. So I hate how we do that. And then we just talk about the bad things about it. It's a lot of positive. Now, to answer the question, what's the blackout impactful to society? I'm going to say absolutely not. In theory, I do think that it has some validity, but I think where we went wrong is that times are different. Times have changed. I think if black folks want to make an impact, I think we need to do that in a different way and find out different avenues to do that. Economic impact may not be that. And I do agree with Victor. We do need to get into the habit of making sure our community is good and making sure that black folks are the movers and the shakers, for an example, to ensure that if we are the people making those policies, or we're the people in XY positions, that we can make those necessary changes. So no, it wasn't impactful, but I do think.
But why would I want y'all to make the necessary policies or changes? And the majority of the cities that y'all run is fucked up. Let's say,
Anton, believe it or not, there is a lot of bias.
Hold on.
Racial bias.
Let's explore it. Let's say, for example, let's go to Chicago, right? Y'all got representation. You got a black person. Well, even before Brandon Johnson, you had a person that fit all of the profile. She was black, gay, a woman, and Lori Lightfoot, right? You had all of the initiatives all rolled into one big ass ball that continued to sink the city and throw it under a bus. And then right after that, y'all voted in Brandon Johnson, who was 10 times worse than Lori Lightfoot. And so what's the point of representation? Why does it always have to be somebody that's black or somebody that looks like you instead of somebody that benefits you? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. If it just so happened to be a white man that is putting the city in the best position possible that'll ultimately benefit my family and raise my property values and improve my schools and improve the roads or whatever, I'm probably going to vote for the white man, and I'm not going to vote for the black guy just because he's black. So what I'm trying to understand again is what the fuck is up with, and don't get me wrong, I understand cultural norms and preferences and all of that. But when it comes to business, when it comes to doing the thing that's in the best interest of the country or the city, because local representation is more important, in my opinion, than national representation. Why are we so stuck on identity in any capacity? Why is that meaningful to y'all? What do you need? Like, what does this do to y'all? Why is it so meaningful?
I think we might be stuck on identity is because, I mean, that's what this country was built off of. You had a group of people that said, hey, we identify as white, we identify you as black, and we're going to posture and position ourselves as superior than you just because you're black. They made it about race and identity from the very beginning. They made sure that everyone who didn't look like them and identified as them had a disadvantage in this country. They set it up like that. You know what I mean? Like the way that they even imposed on how to create society. Like it was clear as day. It wasn't that they gave these people disadvantages because these were degenerate people. It was just like, no, I feel like that I'm superior. I'm the superior race as this white race. And because I hold the economic power, I'm going to make every other race, make it difficult for them in their communities to thrive because for some reason they feel that's a threat to them. I mean, that's just a fact. We're not pulling these out of the air.
Let's assume for the sake of conversation that we can't. Let's assume for the sake of conversation we can't let go of the past. Why are Asian
They
people?
haven't let go of the past.
Well, hold on, give me a second, because we always like to compare ourselves against white people. How come Asian people aren't suffering in the same way that the black community is?
I don't know. Why don't you
about
ask?
race?
You're right. Why aren't they? Why aren't these other communities a threat like we are? When all we've ever tried to do in this country was thrive and progress on our own. And every time that we've tried, we minded our business. We developed our own hospitals, our own schools, libraries. We had our own communities that were thriving. And for some reason, that was a problem for white people in power. And so instead of us allowing us to continue to progress as a race, they bombed us out. They flooded us out. They burned us down. But wait, can I finish? You have to understand what that is, because that's why we're in the state that we are in now. There's never been any other group in America that has had to have dealt with building up and then being bombed out at every time that they have. There's no other group in this country that can say they've experienced the same thing Black people have for so long. So now y'all look at the Black community as if we're just all degenerates and we've never strived for anything better and we're uneducated and we're not trying, when that's not been the case. We've always been exceptional people. But unfortunately, our exception, us being exceptional and us unifying as a community is a direct threat to white supremacy. This is not a fallacy. This is a fact. So when it comes to these other communities, for some reason, right, we can unpack those reasons, they're not bothered the way our communities are. History has shown that every time that we have progress, it has been a problem in this country. So until we address the reason why these people are doing this to us and continue to do these things to our communities, then maybe we could get to the reason why our community is stuck. It's because it could be a deeply rooted trauma, because every time that we've seen ourselves progress, we've been killed for it.